In this lesson, we are going to take a look at the table view within Concordance 2007. Now, just like the browse view, the table view has its own navigation buttons and settings that will allow you to view the documents in the database. But instead of viewing all the fields one record at a time, the display will be in a table format similar to what you will see in an Excel table. Since in the table view all records are displayed at the same time, we don't have as many navigation buttons as we would have had in the browse view. Going to the bottom right hand side of the screen, we can see that the same TAG and DEL marks are still visible, and the document location numbers are also still available. However, on the bottom left hand corner, we can see that there are really only three icons available in the table view. They are the Go To button, the Imageview button, and the Font button, and all three serve the same functions that we saw in detail in the browse view. The Go To button allows you to jump to any record in the table. All we have to do is click the button and simply type in the record number. The Imageview button will again bring up Opticon to view the records accompanying TIFF image. And the Font button is once again one of aesthetics and allows me to change the font size, type, and color. So we can see that all three buttons are the same as their counterparts within the browse view. In fact, the only real difference between browse and table view has to do with the main display area here and how the information is shown on the screen. I mentioned earlier during this lesson that the table format is similar to that of an Excel table. This is not only true of the way information is displayed, but also with some of the displayed functions as well. Just like in Excel, the table field width can be adjusted. All I have to do is hover my mouse over one of these field lines until my mouse changes shape into a double arrow. I can now either widen or shrink the field width by holding my left mouse button and dragging it to the right or to the left. Another similar option is that the fields themselves can be sorted by simply clicking on one of these field headers, just like in Excel. So for instance, if I wanted to sort the column titled Doc Type, I can do so just with a single click. Now I can see all the various document types grouped together. For instance, correspondences are now in one large group. As another example, I can also sort the documents by clicking on the Date field header and have the documents sorted by date in either ascending or descending order. One thing to keep in mind is that this particular method of sorting by clicking on the field heading will only allow you to sort the data by one field at a time, meaning that I would have to either choose the correspondence field or the date field. I can't sort on both of them. In order to sort by more criteria, I have to use the actual sort function in the sub-menu that we've been hiding to keep out of our way. So I'm going to go ahead and hover over the tab on the left-hand side and click on this push bin to keep the tab open for this particular instance. The menu of the functions available here include basic database functions, tagging, notes, and searching. These are all options we will be covering in separate lessons, but for right now we are interested in this last option here, sort. When I click on this sort option, I get a new menu. I'm just going to expand the menu slightly so that we can see more of the information here. Basically, what I am looking at now are two screens. The bottom screen are the available fields in the database for sorting, which essentially is a list of all the fields that I have. To choose the field for sorting, I simply double-click with my left mouse button, and the field selected will move to the top screen, which indicate its sort order. For this example, I'll choose the two fields that we have been testing with, Doc Type and then Date. Next to the field names here at the top of the screen is now a drop-down box that allows me to choose if the sorting should be done via ascending or descending order. When I am ready, all I have to do is click on this sort button, and by doing so I now have the data sorted first by Doc Type and then by Date. I can add as many fields as I want to the sorting list and also take away any particular fields that I am no longer interested in. Okay, with that demo done, let me go ahead and hide this database tab again and go back to the main table view. From this screen, I also have the option to choose which field should be displayed in this table format. For instance, if this database happens to be 50 or 60 fields of information long, I can choose to display just the fields that I find relevant for my review. All I have to do is right-click over any of the fields and select Layout and then Table Layout. Within this table layout screen, I again have two screens. The one on the left displays the fields that are available to me now. I can move and change the field order in any way I want. For instance, I can move this doc type first or put it last simply by dragging and dropping the field name. On the right-hand screen, I again have a list of all fields available to me. I can drag and drop them to the left, which will then allow me to add previously unseen fields to the table view. Using the same drag and drop method, I can also move the fields back over to the right and hide it from my view. And instead of dragging and dropping, I can also accomplish the same movements by double-clicking on the fields. Double-clicking on one side will move the field to the other side. And on the right-hand side, I can also hold down my Shift key or the Control key while clicking or selecting a particular field so that I can select multiple fields for a movement. The same is not true of the left-hand side of the screen. Unfortunately for the left-hand side, I will have to choose one field at a time. So just for demo purposes, I'm going to remove all the fields except for the start page and end page and date. And once I have chosen my fields, I'm just going to go ahead and click OK. As you can see, my table view now displays just the three fields that I chose. Let me go back into the table layout again. From here, I can change the layout one more time, or if I want, I can actually prepare another layout so that I can easily switch between the field types that I want to look at. Here's what we can do. The default table layout will be named according to your login. This particular computer is called HP Administrator, and so the layout is called HP Administrator. On your own computer, the title will be whatever your machine name happens to be. Down on the bottom left hand here is a New button. If I click on this New button, I can now create a new layout. I'll call this Review 1. Once I have Review 1 created, I can now drag and drop the fields that I would like to see in the table view and place it under Review 1. From here, I'll click OK. Going back to my table view, notice nothing has changed yet. I am still seeing the same three fields that I had first chosen. However, I can now choose to view the fields in my Review 1 setting by right-clicking, choosing Layout, and instead of Table Layout, I can choose Review 1. By doing so, as you can see, I now am looking at the fields that were just created for Review 1. Of course, I can also easily switch back to my initial HP Administrative view by again using the right-click Layout option. Depending on what I am trying to accomplish in this review, I can easily create multiple layouts for my purposes. Now, besides the layout option, right-clicking brings up a couple of very useful options that we should go into. On the same right-click menu, we have Font, View Image, Tally, and Send To. The font option is the same as the font option at the bottom left-hand of the screen here, and again, it's really one of the aesthetics. The View Image button does not actually work within the table view and really should be ignored. It was Dataflight's intention to use this View Image function as it would have been done within the Browse menu, but it doesn't really work all too well, so we'll go ahead and skip it for now. The next two options are extremely helpful ones, Tally and Send To. The Tally option allows a quick grouping and count of the types of information contained within a particular field. And the Send To button allows the export of particular database records to CaseMap or Excel. Let's take a look at the Tally option first. Perhaps I would like to know how many different document types there are. In the small database of 25 records, I can easily count the information on the screen. But if the database were 1,000 records or 100,000 records, a manual count would not be the best solution. Using the Tally function, I can quickly get the answer that I want. All I have to do is right-click over the document type field and select Tally. Notice the tab on the left-hand side that we have been hiding now says Tally. So let's click on it and pin it down again so we can see the results of the screen. As you can see, I now have a small list of document types and the number of documents fitting each type. I can right-click over any field of information, date, custodian name, etc., to get a similar count of those fields. From here, I can print the text file or save the count information as a text file for later use. The reset button will reset the counts for a new tally. If there were hundreds and thousands of records in the database, the count might take a while and the tally can be reset during the middle of a tolling process, but isn't really necessary here. The close button will close out the tally screen altogether. The tally function is a quick way to group document information and get a rough count of document types, of witness names, of date groups, etc. And if your tags are in a text field, it can also be used to quickly and simply to get a tally of the tags you have marked as well. We'll look at tagging in a later lesson. Now, the send to function allows the information to be taken out of Concordance and placed into Excel or CaseMap. For this particular demonstration, we'll take a look at how it works for Excel. I can mark the records I am interested in by holding down the Control key or the Shift key as I click with my left mouse button. And once I have the records I want, I will right-click, select Send To, and select Excel. By doing so, Concordance will now open up Excel and place the record information I selected into an Excel table, just like what you are seeing here on the screen right now. From here, you can manipulate the data within Excel for a report or perhaps other calculations. Now, one thing I want to mention here is only the fields that you have selected in your layout view will be exported out to Excel. Any other fields that's not currently being displayed will not be sent to Excel. And one last item I would like to show you about the table view is that generally you may find it helpful to use in conjunction with the browse view. The two views can be activated at the same time by depressing both buttons like so. In this way, when I select a particular table record, I can also see all the field information concerning that one record. By combining the browse and table view together, I am essentially getting the best of both worlds. I can see all the records in a table format, but still see the detailed field information. The navigation icons I had for both views are also available, so I can flip through the table just like I did in the browse view. Notice that when I open up both views at the same time, the split of the screen was horizontal. Beginning in Concordance 2007, this split was added. For those of you who are more comfortable with the old way of left-right split, you can still do that by going to the View menu, then choosing the split screen, and then choosing either left-right or top-bottom. Now overall, these are the major functions of the table view. In the next lesson, we'll be looking at the remaining view in the Concordance, the Edit view.